Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. For those of you that are new, I'm Gabby. This is my boyfriend Chris, and
This is Zazu.
Yeah, this is Zazu. We're animal handlers. We live in South Florida, and we work primarily with alligators. So today we thought it would be a fun idea to do a video, maybe on the different videos, viral things in the news, pictures regarding alligators, and yeah.
So, what is our first one?
Okay, hold on. I have everything on my phone. So the first one is actually trending this week. So I'm not even kidding. The title is Florida Golfer Ignores Scary Alligator Strolling Next to Him. This is the video. It's literally not a big deal at all. So the alligator walks, the guy hits the ball.
Yep, just a gator walking by.
Literally.
Not a big deal.
We've had a bunch of people tag us. Yeah, alligators don't really want anything to do with people. It's nothing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they're not out to get you. You know, a lot of people have the mental image of an alligator. If it sees a person, it's going to chase them down and kill them. And that's just simply not the case. You know, we've got around 2 million gators in the state of Florida. If they had that mindset, you would have people dying every day. And as I say in my shows all the time, instead we have more people killed annually by vending machines than by alligators. It says a lot about the situation.
Yeah. What is he doing?
Where did you find that?
Zazu.
It's a dead mealworm.
Oh.
Pulled from out under.
Okay.
Did you hear him?
Yes.
So offended.
What were we saying?
Okay, so what else
Okay,
is...
hold on. No. You are more likely to be approached by an alligator when you're swimming in the water, but on land, they don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah, they're an aquatic ambush predator. Their hunting strategy is creep up on things in the water, launch out, grab it, drown it, not running across a golf course chasing anything down. That's just not really what they do.
By the way, the zigzag thing, run zigzag?
No, throw that out the window.
No.
Now, what is interesting about this story too is it says, you know, golfer ignores alligator. No, he went up to the alligator just to get a video with it.
Yeah, he
the
did.
gator was walking and he's like, it wasn't like, oh no, I'm just teeing in my spot. Oh cool, alligator, whatever. No, he's like, hey bro, there's an alligator. Film me teeing off next to it. Like he definitely did that on purpose. It wasn't some nonchalant thing.
Yeah.
Which we'd like to remind you, please don't do things like that. The alligators, again, they're not going to chase anybody down, but that does not mean you should go up to it because if it does decide to feel threatened by you, it may act defensively. You know, they're not going to go after somebody, but if you make him feel threatened, yeah, he may feel the need to defend himself.
Yeah. I kind of like the video though because it really shows that alligators, they don't want any conflict with people. They're actually pretty shy animals.
Yeah.
So they avoided him.
Yeah.
Alligator climbs over fence in Florida. So here's the video. It's a big alligator, like 8 feet.
Yeah. And flop.
It's so graceful, right?
Yeah.
So, newsflash, alligators can climb chain link.
Yep.
Not a big deal. They do.
But that's something we've known for a long time. There have been many photos and videos over the years of alligators climbing over a chain link fence. It does happen a lot, okay? Now, well, let me rephrase that. It doesn't happen a lot because they're not often motivated enough to want to do so. Does it happen? Yeah, it does. Yes, an alligator can climb over a chain link fence, but typically they're not motivated enough to want to do it.
All right, the next one is an article. Alligator bites severely injures man who was hunting alligators in Brevard County.
Yeah, so I made a big post about this, not so much because of what actually happened, but because of how it was reported.
Yeah.
So there are numerous reports about this incident, and what actually happened, the guy is hunting. While he was trying to kill an alligator, it bit him in the hand. So the alligator didn't attack him, he attacked the alligator in a legal hunting season, but either way, he attacked the alligator defended itself, bit the guy, and he lost part of his hand. Now, if you report it like most of the articles did, alligator hunter bit by alligator, okay, that's fair. Some of the articles, though, made no mention of the fact that this guy was a hunter and just put man attacked by alligator, lost his hand. Now that is not okay. That's irresponsible reporting, and that gives the public the idea that this alligator attacked this guy. Like it went out of its way unprovoked and ripped his hand off, and that promotes fear and vilification of these animals, and that is not what happened here. This guy messed with the gator and he got the teeth, and that's what happens.
The next one was like all over the news for like weeks. Everywhere you went on Facebook, TV, it's the alligator that was released and loose in Chicago, in the pond in Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah, so 5-foot alligator, right? 4-foot alligator?
Something like that.
Yeah. In a pond in a public park in Chicago. So how did that happen?
Well, the problem that we run into here is people try to keep wild animals as pets, and somebody had their pet alligator and it got too big and they let it go. And this is a very common problem that we see. Now, when that kind of stuff happens, it's a really sad situation. You know, a lot of the times the owner of the animal thinks they're doing the animal a favor, as if, oh, I'm going to let him free and he's going to live on a farm and be happy forever. And the sad reality is that almost always the animal ends up dying. Because if it's not caught and killed by officials, it ends up starving to death or dies in inclement weather, which is exactly what would have happened to this animal if it had not been caught. Yeah. Now, why is it so bad to release them? Well, for one, if you release them here in South Florida, well, that's where we get invasive species. Okay, we have a big problem with invasive species here because things survive because of our mild weather. But up north, where people release their exotic animals, they almost always die in the winter. And then when the ice thaws in the winter, you have frozen pythons or this or that end up being killed by that harsh weather. So although in a lot of people's minds they're helping their pet because they can't have it anymore and they're going to give it a better life out in the wild, chances are you just gave them a death sentence.
Yeah. And this is why it's so important that different states have laws. Like in Florida, I think it's pretty strict. It's pretty responsible.
Yeah.
So, you know, to own animals, you need permits. Depending on the species, you need different requirements, hours of experiences, years sometimes of experiences, different acreages, like 2.5 acres for gators over 4 feet. I mean, it's pretty serious. A lot of the animals have to be microchipped. But I know places like Pennsylvania, you can go and buy an alligator for $50. You don't have to have proof of an enclosure. You don't have to have proof of like your experience, which is, I think, is kind of ridiculous.
Well, no, that's not ridiculous. That's horrifically just unethical.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just so irresponsible. I mean, how can you possibly imagine, if you're the guy selling alligators to just regular old people, how can you possibly think that that animal is ever going to live its full lifespan? I mean, you have to know in your heart that every single one of those animals you sell, you're killing them. You're killing them all. Because nobody you're selling those to is going to be able to take care of it through its entire lifespan. Yeah. And, you know, as to relate to the person who's buying the animal. So, to address the person who's actually buying these animals, though, they need to think about it from the point of view of, can I take care of this animal? Before you ever take on any animal, you have to do your homework. Am I going to be able to take care of it at its maximum size? Baby alligator, when it gets 15 feet, is it going to still fit in my bathtub? You have to have some common sense, you know, and you can't just get an animal on a whim. There's no impulse buys. You are now responsible for that animal for the rest of his life. And unfortunately, nobody really thinks like that. They're like, oh man, this is cool. In the 20 seconds I've been thinking about it, how about I get it? And then when it gets big, not my problem, I'm going to dump it out in the lake.
And even if you do release it somewhere like Florida, where it's going to survive potentially, if FWC finds it and it's invasive, they're going to kill it anyway. All invasive species get euthanized, so it's probably not going to...
Even if it's a native animal that you've been keeping, it now no longer has a fear of humans. A lot of people actually do this in Florida where they catch a baby alligator, they keep it, and then they let it go. And the problem with this, that animal has no fear of humans. And now, when it comes too close to a person, it's going to be shot and killed for it. So no, there's no safe place where you can go catch a baby alligator or buy it or whatever, keep it till it gets big, and then let it go. That's just not reality. And, you know, again, the animal is one that ends up paying the price there.
Yeah. And by the way, when people release their animals, this makes the whole animal keeper community look awful, and it makes laws tougher on us.
Yeah.
I mean, FWC right now is trying to pass a bunch of laws preventing people from owning tegus, iguanas, a bunch of other animals. I mean, in 20 years, I'm not surprised if you can't get anything anymore.
Yeah.
So don't be irresponsible, because you're ruining it for everybody, including the responsible keepers.
Yep. You know, something I would like to say on this note too is the idea of what's a pet and what's not. Like Abby just said, you know, keepers. Now, for someone who keeps exotic animals, I don't consider them to be pets. Like Zazu, he's flying around in here right now. He's not my pet. I think of him as an animal that we keep, that we care for, and that we work with, but he's not a pet in my mind. Because the difference to me is that a pet is an animal that's domesticated, like your dog or your cat. A domesticated animal does not mean that it's a tame animal. Domestication is a process whereby you breed something for hundreds, if not thousands of generations.
Such a little monster.
He's flapping around right here.
Come here, psycho. Come here. Come here.
This guy. Okay.
havoc.
Like I was saying, a pet is an animal that's been bred for hundreds, if not thousands of generations for things like docility, loyalty, traits like that, right? Now, a wild animal like this guy has all of his wild instincts, okay? So he's not what I would consider to be a pet. Now, you can have a bond with and you can habituate a wild animal within its lifetime, yes you can, but it's not going to be domesticated. Because again, domestication is a form of genetic engineering, where we selectively breed to change the animal's genes to make it what we want it to be. That didn't happen with him, and that didn't happen with any alligator or crocodile like in these stories, okay? So it's really important to understand that if you're going into this situation thinking you're buying a pet alligator and it's gonna be like your dog, you need to go do some homework, because that ain't reality.
Nope. Alligator swimming in a Texas lake with a knife in its head.
Yeah, this one didn't happen recently, but it's still being talked about.
I think June, so a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Now, people were tagging us, wanting us to go to Texas, which, by the way, we have no jurisdiction in Texas.
Yeah.
We can't go do
Well,
that.
we both made posts about this and
Yeah.
trying to address it, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of people had a lot of different opinions, so we're going to talk about what we think happened. So I think that somebody caught the alligator either with a fishing hook, noosed it, somehow caught it, brought it on land, and then stabbed it in the head and didn't kill it.
By the way, the camera's moving up down because
It's 'cause
Zazu
of
is
Zazu.
jumping on it, okay? So,
He's such a little crazy thing.
yeah, so...
That's what I think.
Yeah, so I don't think that's what happened. My personal opinion is that this gator was likely fed by people, or at least hanging out where people were. My mental image of what happened is that people were on a dock, the alligator is below the dock, and they're looking at it and they're like, either they're thinking, I just want to come here. So what I envision happening is that people were on a dock and the alligator's below the dock, and either they dropped the knife down and it just got a lucky hit right into the eye, or unlucky obviously, but that's what it seems to me, is that it was below them, they're looking down at it, they dropped the knife down, or they could have even reached down and stuck him with the knife like that. And that just seems like the kind of thing that, you know, stupid a-hole kids that are hanging out being, you know, kids or drinking, even if they're not kids, you know what I mean? Something like that, just guys kind of being jerks, right? And they see an alligator and they're gonna try to mess with it, and it's under the dock, so either they drop a knife or they stab the knife down at it. Now, we had a lot of people respond to us, how do you know it wasn't in self-defense?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, first of all, it looks like a butcher's knife, and I don't know how many people go casually swimming in a lake with a butcher's knife.
Yeah.
But even if they did, if the alligator were to attack them, you wouldn't stab it in the head. Like, you can't do that. I could understand if they stabbed it maybe like, you know, in the jowl or like underneath, but like in the head,
Yeah, I mean,
you
as
can't. You would have your arm ripped off.
As someone speaking from experience of having many alligators come at me, trying to bite me, you would never want to come in from the top, okay? You always come in from the bottom. When I have an alligator coming in and try to bite me in the water or on land, whatever, I don't come in from the top, because that's a great way to get nailed. They are exceptionally good at this. They're really good. I mean, you can throw a piece of food to an alligator, hit him.
Zazu, why are you so crazy?
This guy.
You are a monster. Why are you so crazy? Why? Can you just hang out with us? What were we saying? Oh, no. Can you not?
I told you he's not a pet.
Oh my. Zazu. What were we saying?
So speaking from the experience of having multiple alligators attempt to bite me in the water when I'm working with them, they come in like this. If you were to try to reach in from the top, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to do that without getting your arm ripped off. I mean, they're really good at this number. I mean, we have, you know, photos, videos of where you throw a piece of food. You can throw a piece of food, hit him right on the nose, and he's going to snatch it right there before it bounces off. I mean, they're really good at this. If an alligator does come at you, I mean, what you're supposed to do, go from underneath, and then you can push him away like that. Don't try to come in from the top, though, because it's a really good way to get nailed. So, it's highly unlikely that somebody was being attacked by this alligator, they just happen to have a steak knife pull out of their armpit and stab it in the top of the head without getting their arm ripped off in the process.
Yeah, this was intent. And there were no reports of, you know, an alligator trying to attack anybody or injury.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think that if somebody had this happen to them, that's gonna be on the news, it's gonna be on social media. Nobody's gonna be like, Oh yeah, no, an alligator tried to attack me in the lake and I stabbed it in the eye, but you know, I'm not going to talk about it because not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know?
Now the good news is the alligator was stabbed in the eye. Alligators are incredible healers, so that alligator's probably going to live.
Yeah, so a lot of people were concerned about whether or not the gator made it. It was never caught and it was never seen again. So some people were worried it may have died. Chances are it actually swam into a branch or debris and pushed that off, maybe even got it off with his own foot or something like that. But they're incredible survivors. They heal through everything, and we see alligators missing eyes all the time. So it's highly unlikely that this animal died from that injury.
And also, a lot of people were very concerned about the alligator, so it was really nice to see, like, because usually the public's like, oh, kill it, oh, remove it, oh, I hate alligators, you know, but a lot of people were messaging us, asking us to go out and rescue it. They were showing up to the actual site looking for the alligator every day. So it was really nice to see people actually care about this animal.
Yeah, I mean, a sad instance, but you can see it brought out the good in a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up our little news cycle for right now. You know, we'll probably do another one of these in a couple of months and try to cover all the news stories that have come out as well. Hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Let us know. If there's anything that we missed or a story you want us to talk about, drop it in the comments and let us know.